Okay. Let's first predict how many do you think we all agreed on this week?
I'm gonna say it's got to be like 1 to 2. I'll go 1.
3.
3. Oh, even more. Okay.
You and I have 6, but the three of us have 3.
I would say. Well, you said CJ didn't take Harvick, so it's going to be him. Hamlin,
Yes, that's 1.
Blaney.
CJ did not take Blaney.
Oh.
Wait, you did not take Blaney.
Oh, that's right. I took him off. I had him. I readjusted. I took him off when I saw him plus 11. Wallace.
No, CJ did not take Wallace.
Larson.
No, I did not take Larson.
Logano.
Yes, we all took Logano, and the last one.
Probably Keselowski. Would it
Yep.
be Keselowski? Yep.
Keselowski. So we all have Hamlin, Logano, Keselowski. You and I, we all had also Wallace and Almirola. And who else do we all have to both have together? Someone else in there. Harvick. Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, because look, there's 6 now. Interesting thing is there are 6 drivers at 7 and 8 to 1, meaning that at any sports book, any one of those drivers could be the favorite. That's how close it is. The good news is that nobody's 4 to 1, or 5 to 1, or 3 to 1. So the lowest number right now you're getting is 7 to 1, maybe at a sports book it's 6 to 1. So that's good. When I take a look at these drivers now, again, you went ahead with 3 out of the 6. I went with 2 of the 6. We both went with Hamlin. The only difference was you put money on Larson and I did not. So let's go with Kyle and Byron and Truex first. We did not put money on those 3. Now, Kyle is coming off to win a Fontana, so that could mean something. But when you look at Michigan, he's won once in 34 races. And he's only led 279 laps there, which is not very good. And he's only led 24 laps in his last 6 races there. So you have Fontana's win, and you had 9 straight top 10s at Michigan heading into last year with the new car. And he had a crash early on lap 24, I believe it was, and he was in a good position in starting the race. So he had a fast car, crashed early. What would have happened if he didn't crash? Who knows? 3rd last week. All right, maybe we could see why he's 7 to 1, but there were reasons to pass. I gave you those. Byron has a runner-up a couple years ago, but he really hasn't done much else. Didn't do well at Fontana. And remember now, he's one top 5 in his last 8, still with that 1 top 5 being the win he stole at Atlanta. And Truex, 11th at Fontana, has never won at Michigan with only 275 laps led. Never. And he's with these other, favorites. And I understand why. 6 straight top 10s at Michigan, 4 top 5s, but he hasn't led a lap there in his last 4 races. So you can see some of the reasons why we did not take those 3 drivers.
Yeah, Truex, I have no doubt in my mind, is probably a top 10 guy. And I think he's a better play, plus 100 for a top 5. But in a win, as you said, he's 0 for 32. He's never won there. And if he hasn't won the previous 32, what makes me think he's going to win the 33rd when he can get better odds for better drivers? Byron, as you said, 1 top 5 his last 8 on the season. He's also got 1 top 5 in his last 8 at Michigan. He just doesn't seem to be great there. He was 25th at Fontana this year, so that was an easy punt. And like Kyle, too, like you said, he's 1 for 34 at Michigan. I don't see him going 2 for 35. So for those odds, I could get better odds elsewhere. Granted, I wouldn't be shocked if Truex or Busch won, but not for those kind of odds.
That's by the way, that is 1. Let me total this: 42, 74. That's 1 for 74 between Kyle, Truex, and Byron.
Yeah, not great odds when you're coming in
not when they're
the odds that they are.
Not when you could have taken the others. Like we both went with Hamlin at 7 to 1 and Harvick at 8 to 1. Hamlin right now is dialed in. He has not been dialed in all year. So he's dialed in. When he's dialed in, you got to go with him. Even though, he doesn't have like some great history here. It's okay, but he's only led 262 laps there. Nothing great, but he has won a couple times. He does have 11 top fives. Third last year with the new car. Led 38 laps, which is the second most he's ever led at Michigan since his win in 2010. I believe it was, when he had 123 laps led in that race. He's sixth or better in 5 straight at Michigan. And he also was sixth at Fontana to boot. And then you take a look at Harvick, come on. I mean, I don't know what CJ is smoking, but I don't know how you don't bet Harvick. It doesn't mean it's going to guarantee him a win, but he's at the number that we've seen him at several times this year, 8-1. We've seen him at 8-1 before. Why is he still 8-1 here when the guy has won? How many? He's got five out of
the
7?
last 7. Yeah, 5 of the last 7. 6 top 2s in his last 8 there.
6 runner-ups. Yeah, he's got 6 runner-ups and 5 wins in his last 18.
And I think we could agree he's better now than he was early in the season. And early in the season, he had a top 5 in Fontana. So, yeah, he's got 3 straight top 10s. 2 of them were 4th on the season. So, yeah, that's a no-brainer for me. Plus, you could get him at plus 110 for a top 5 and plus 250 for a top 3. And we talked about him being the top 2. That plus 250 is – you could take that in the Ford – plus 250 to win and laugh all the way to the bank at that just I'm shocked he's got the same odds as William Byron for his success there. Just astonishing. But yeah, you can't go wrong with Kevin Harvick this weekend.
Now, the only one we disagreed on was Larson. And as far as the favorites, he has 3 wins here, which is good. He won them all, 17 and 16. He swept 1 year. But what I look at is a couple things. Well, he didn't fare well at Fontana. If you want to throw that in, fine. But he's led over 7 laps just 3 times out of 14 races. And he's back to being inconsistent. Now it's back again to, if you look at it, his last 4 races, 3 of them have been 19th or worse. So he was hot. I gave him an excuse after Atlanta. Fine. Back to 3rd at New Hampshire. But now it's 2 straight weeks of bad. The 36 at Atlanta makes it 3 out of 4. And now I'm back to being, okay, I got to stay away from him for now.
Yeah, he scared me, but these are his best tracks, are these 2-mile Fontana and Michigan tracks. And then I looked at, he was going for the win at Pocono for Hamlin, squeezed him. So that should have been a top 2.
What happened to him at Fontana? Do you remember?
I think he get caught up in a wreck, or did he have a engine? Oh, he had engine problems. He had problems early. I remember they kept pitting. He had like some kind of mechanical problem. So that was something out of his doing. It happened early in the race too.
That's the 8th time he's finished. 9th time he's finished 19th or worse this year.
Yeah, he's been way too inconsistent. So, granted, Richmond, I wasn't expecting much out of him, even though he did good there, won in the spring race. But I didn't expect him to come back and do much there because Hendrick hasn't done much. So if you take Pocono, let's say that finishes where it should have been. Atlanta, we know he's never going to be good on a super speedway. You got to go back to Gateway, and he's got 4th, 8th, 5th, 4th. Atlanta was Atlanta. 3rd, top 2 at Pocono before getting wrecked. 19th at Richmond's not surprising. So I'm like, he's not been terrible. 7-1 I thought was a decent number for a guy that these are his best tracks. This is his bread and butter. If he comes out and he doesn't do anything, then I think it's almost time to start ringing the alarm bells for him. This is not a chance. Yes, this is not, because this should be a get-right race for him, as good as he's been on 2-mile tracks. So we'll see.
He hasn't had any penalties this year, right?
No, he's not had any issues.
And he's 8th, which is not typical for what you expect out of Kyle Larson.
Now, if you look at all of his results, they're either top 5s, a couple 8th there, or outside the top 19. Yeah, that's really there is no middle ground for him. So that's why you get all or nothing. 7-1. I didn't like it, but it's not a bad number for a guy that's got 3 Michigan wins, and he was 3rd and 7th the last 2 years. So I thought, why not? It's better than I know he could win there where Kyle Busch won for 34, and we know it Truex. But I did mean to mention, there is a driver prop right now with Truex versus William Byron. Like I said, Byron won top 5 his last day in the season, won top 5 his last day at Michigan. Truex has 7 top 6 finishes in his last 10 Michigan starts. He's been 5 top 7s in his last 7 weeks of the season, too. And you're getting him at minus 105 compared to Byron minus 125 right now. That, to me, seems like an easy win.
Where do you see that one?
Right there. Right, Truex Jr. versus Byron.
Oh, Truex and Byron.
Yeah. I don't know why they're head-to-head, but it seems like an easy win right there. Truex is just so good at Michigan. Granted, he said he hadn't won, but I said he's top 10, top 5s. Byron's got 1 in his last 8 on the season and 1 in his last 8 there. I feel like that was almost.
I think Blaney over Reddick would be a good play.
Yeah, that's another solid one right there. Minus 105 for both.
And Harvick over Kyle, too, actually.
Yeah, all 3 minus 105s. You parlay that, you take a Ford group winner, and you're set up this week. But
and I would take Gibbs over Bowman.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Even though CJ put money on Bowman this week.
Yeah, I'm writing Bowman off until he just get me a top 10. Let's say he's in this category. I'm like, do I need to drop this guy for my fantasy team? He's giving me nothing.
Ooh. Yeah, well,
I won't, but he's giving me nothing.
No, yeah, he hasn't. All right, so Bell at 10-1, Blaney 11, Reddick 12, and as far as those 3 drivers, we both have Wallace, and again, you got Blaney being a Ford, so that was the gimme for me, and he won here just a couple of years ago. So I know he's not dialed in, but it's just a no-brainer for me with the Ford and his win a couple of years ago. I didn't put a lot on him, just a decent amount. Reddick, yeah, I mean, why would I put Reddick here? I mean, I don't know what he's doing at 12-1.
No.
He's never had a top 15 in 4 Cup appearances, and it was a disaster. I don't know what happened to him at Fontana. And Wallace, yeah, I mean, Wallace, again, like I said, his last 3, even though he doesn't have a top 5 in his last 8, in his last 3, he's 12th, 11th, and 8th. That's fine. He also had 2 top 10s out of 3 races in the Xfinity Series at this track. Runner-up here from the pole last year. And 2 top 10s in his last 4. So I know the 14-1 is the only issue. He was 25-1 in this race last year, but still, I think Wallace's odds should be better than Reddick's.
Oh, I do too. I'm shocked. Reddick and Bell at 10, where he was at opening.
Yeah, Christopher Bell. Yeah.
I mean, he's 13, 17, 13, 26.
Yeah. And he never had a top 10 in the Xfinity Series either.
No. 32nd in Fontana in February. He's not had a top 5 in the last 14 races. His last 6 on the season.
Oh, that's right. We're still talking about he hasn't had a top 5 since the dirt race.
I'm going to keep bringing that up. So it's like, how is he plus 1,000 and Reddick plus 1,200 when Reddick's best Michigan finish is 18th? He was 34th in Fontana, but you get Bubba Wallace, who you just said it. I mean, finished 2nd last year, and he's plus 1,400. So that was a no-brainer. And Blaney,
second from the pole.
Yeah, and the only reason I didn't take Blaney was he's kind of slumping right now, but I wouldn't be shocked if he won. I originally had him. I just realized I got to start winning more races with more money, like we talked about last week. So that's the only reason I dropped him. But he's a phenomenal player. I expect a top 10 out of him.
Yeah, if he doesn't have a top 10, not even that. If he doesn't lead laps this week, then because they're going to road courses the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, and we know he's not good at those. Yeah,
so you need something good to happen this week.
Yeah, and you could get him too. If you feel a win out of him, which is plus 1,200 right now, you might as well take the top 3 at a plus 330 too. I mean, that's a plus 330 is pretty good for a top 3 finish. So
okay,
yeah, I do like that. But yeah, Blaney, I like. I'm shocked he was where he was. I'm shocked Harvick was where he was. I'm shocked Bubba was where he was, and I have no idea. I feel like Ford they screwed up on by giving us that, and then Byron's odds what he was, and Bell and Reddick. I don't get it, but I'll take it. I'm glad that because it gives better odds for better drivers when you've got guys that are probably misplaced in the odds makers right now. But hey, I'm glad they are
because Bell is only 2 points away from Harvick. And The only thing that Bell had going for him is that last year he led 31 laps from the front row, and he crashed late. That's really all he has as far as anything good to say about Bell. But 10-1 just doesn't make sense. And then you've got Elliott, Logano 15, Chastain 18, and CJ did put money on Elliott. We all took Logano. Nobody took Chastain. So Elliott, runner-up in his first 3 appearances at this track, which is pretty incredible, but no top 5 since, and no nothing inside the top 10 in the Cup Series in the last 4 races. So he's back to cool. He's cooling off again. Second at Fontana. Okay, well maybe. He was 6th in this race last year. Now 15-1. Logano, Ford have to play him. He's been excellent here. 3 wins. And last year we thought 13, 16, 19, maybe he wins in 22. Didn't do that, but let's keep in mind that you could still look at it where if he were to win because of the fact that the Michigan is not doing 2 races a year, it still kind of would be in the same kind of trend way, kind of every other last 7 deals. I mean, kind of like, okay, well, even though, what happens if there would have been 2 races at Michigan? Maybe that would have worked out for him in 2022. So it just makes too much sense to go with Logano and a strong way, which you did. You put some serious money on Logano. But yeah, Chastain, I just don't know what to do with Chastain and Suarez because I was really close to putting money on both of them because they were both good odds. But then I just sat back and I said, yeah, but they're just not doing anything. And when you look at it, Chastain in 5 Cup appearances doesn't have anything better than 24th. And no top 10s in his last 5. And Suarez has that runner-up, but that was in Atlanta when they cut the race short. And he's done nothing for months. So
no. Yeah, they've given you nothing. That's why I punted on them. And Logano, 6 top 10s his last 8 at Michigan, just too good to pass up. If you feel good at Blaney at plus 1,100, you got to go Logano plus 1,500.
Yeah, I don't understand that either. I think Logano should be better odds than Blaney.
Yeah, I thought they probably should flip-flop.
Agreed.
Blaney would probably be better at 1,500 and Logano 1,100, but I'll take it. Elliott, I just don't think I fully do not believe he's got race-winning speed right now. I just don't see it. Could he get a top 10? Sure. How much into the top 10 can he get? I just don't see it right now. I feel like they're down in the speed department in Michigan. You got to have speed to win. So I don't see it.
By the way, does he now definitely have to win?
I mean, not really. I mean, he's still, what is he? I got it right here. He's 40 out. So he could still get in, but
it's getting close. It's getting long.
Yeah, McDowell is I expect him to be good this month. Michigan, Ford, I think McDowell can top 15 there. We know what he can do on the road courses in Daytona. So I don't think he's going to make it. McDowell?
No,
I don't
Elliott.
Elliott. Oh, I don't either. I think Elliott and Bowman are both out. I don't see Bowman now. I mean, he's 42 back. I feel like he's going to have to win. And Elliott's kind of teetering. I just can't pick a track out of these next 4 that they're going to win at. I just don't feel like they've got the speed.
Course. It'd have to be a road course for Elliott.
Yep. Bowman isn't good at any of these tracks. Just Daytona would be about his only shot. Elliott, I just feel like they're lacking in the speed. So I don't see a 1 out of him. I feel like Chastain and Suarez are lacking in speed. I mean, Chastain's got 2 top 10s in his last 10 starts in general and 1 top 5, and that's his Nashville win. Suarez is giving you nothing. So yeah, Michigan's a track you have to have speed to win at. You've just got to have it, and they just don't. They don't have it right now, so better off going against them right now.
Gibbs, I did put money on Gibbs this week. I have not put money on Gibbs very often, but he was 10th last year, won the Xfinity race last year, so why not? Hey, if Buescher won last week, anything can happen, so I'm finally going to put a little bit of money on Gibbs. We all put money on Keselowski. 7th at Fontana. The only thing is, I would have put more money on Keselowski. I didn't put a lot, but I would have put more. I just don't see. I mean, he didn't even have a great resume when he was with Penske there. No. So that's what worries me. But he is racing well, and he's in a Ford. And like you said, Bowman, no way. He's never had a lot of lap there and hasn't had a top 10 since his return. No way Buescher wins 2 straight races. And yeah, Suarez, I mean, he won an Xfinity race at Michigan and was good here last year, but it's like, how can you and fourth at Fontana, but and it's 60-1. It's enticing. I just can't do it.
No, just too hard on him. Like I said, yeah, Bowman, no way. Kozlowski, he's 0 for 25. He's never won there, so that scared me a little bit. But it's hard to overlook Ford.
But Buescher won last week, and I don't think he had even led a lap there before, had he?
No, he didn't. So that's where I had to go with him. And another guy that a really long shot, Eric Jones, 8th last year, 4 top 11s his last 6. I mean, 100-1. That's a good one to snag. And he's plus 900 for a top 5. I'm not saying he's going to get a top 5, but he's 100-1 to win the race.
Maybe you should pick him up for Bowman.
I actually contemplated Suarez for him.
Oh yeah, Suarez. I think you're at the point now where I tell you what, it has to be this. This is it for this week. I mean, if he doesn't do well this week, that should be it.
I was gonna give him through Indy because he was good on the Indy road course last year. His only wins on a road course. I was gonna give him into that, but we'll see what he does.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter, right? Because no matter what he was good at last year, he's not good at this year again.
Exactly. If he's another sub 20th place finish, then it's time to move on. And Jones and Briscoe's starting to 2 top 11s his last 3.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he's going to be good here. Yeah, I'm not necessarily thinking he's going to come out and win Michigan, but if he gets another top 15, he's a candidate to replace Suarez with. Hell, I mean, if Bowman struggles, it may be we're dropping Bowman and Suarez and picking up Briscoe and Jones just for the points.
And we both like Almirola. And look, he's driving a Ford. He was 8th last week. In the last month, he has been better. So yeah, we're driving a Ford. Why not? And I did Dylan just because of the fact he is teammates with Kyle, who won Fontana. He has a decent history at this track. He's finished 9th in 2 of his last 3 races, and he's got a win in the Xfinity Series at this track. I put a buck on him, but that's as far as I'd go.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt to go low with him, but yeah.
So, but Jones also, Briscoe, like you said, interesting. So those are a couple other super long shots. And maybe even Preece. I mean, he was 5th last week, and he does have a top 10 at this track.
Yeah, I mean, Ford, like I said, with Ford power, he's got some momentum. These guys can go off strategy.
Just bet the Ford drivers, man.
Yep, just go bet Ford. Just go across the board with Ford, and you might have a win. Especially if you really think a Ford's going to win. Yeah, you could bet across the board. Just go all Fords.
Yeah,
bet Ford to win.
Not that many of
those matchups. No, do a couple of those matchup picks we said, and you could be sitting pretty good coming into next week.
And again, by the way, pole position matters. The last 17 winners, again, that's why speed matters here. 12 have come from the top 10, 10 from the top 2 rows, and 6 from the pole. So keep that in mind. But last year, with the new car, 16th position, the only thing was that was Kevin Harvick.
Exactly.
So you got to you definitely got to keep that in mind. So in other words, you know what? I'd like to see Kevin Harvick with another week qualifying session. Start 15th.
Yep.
Put the odds down even more. Give me that. I like that.
Yep.
All right, so we're out of here. Appreciate it as always. What did you say? What do the kids got? Sports?
Football tonight.
Oh, football.
Yeah, football tonight. Yeah.
We mean on television, or they're going somewhere?
Oh no, we practice.
So they practice football. Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah. Their first day of school, and they're going to want to call and talk to me about it. And then I got to get him to practice here pretty soon. So.
All right. And we'll keep reminding everybody about doing that live segment at Daytona. Hopefully we'll be able to figure that out as well. We still got a few weeks to go for that. So next week it's Indy road course, and you're also doing IndyCar, correct?
Yes.
All right. So we're gonna maybe we'll come up with something unique on next week's show. So Eric, appreciate it as always. We'll talk to you next week.
Yep.
See you, everybody.